My name is Mr. Ivan Spisochiane and I'm a lecturer at the History Department here at UNISA. My main research areas are in the history of mining and economic history. So the areas that I'd like students to encourage research students to do would be in the areas of the history of mining, particularly in the history of cartography, the history of geology, and the history of mining. Why am I saying this? It's because maps has been fundamental to shaping colonial South African society, including the role of geologists and other scientists such as mining engineer in the formation of what we now consider South Africa. So I'd like to encourage research in the areas of the history of mining, particularly because our country is based on mining and its political economy has been shaped so much by mining. So as I said, that I'd want to encourage research into the history of cartography, because as much as historians have written about how the archive influences the production of knowledge, about historical knowledge about South Africa, there is a case to be made for maps to be included in historical analysis. Now, for a larger time, for the most part of history as a profession, there has been a deep focus on written material while other sources have been excluded. So I'm trying to develop methodologies from the history of geology and the history of cartography in which we can consider how science then contributes to the production of political economies. That then brings us to science and technology studies, in which I encourage students to do research in how the interaction between society, science and technology, and constantly inquiring on how that space is being navigated among scholars, including sociologists and other scholars in the humanities. So you would need to enroll with us. I'd like to invite you to enroll with us either for an MA or a PhD, because we have supervisory capacity not only in the areas of history of science and technology and the history of mining, but we do also, most importantly, hold expertise in the history of gender and sexuality. You can even go to do a doctorate or an MA on the history of culture and memorialization of heritage and things like that. We also have expertise in press history, in which students are encouraged to do research on the history of newspapers and how that then has developed to inform the present media spectrum, if we can call it that. Thank you.
I'm Spokas Madita, Senior Lecturer at the Department of History here at UNISA, and currently Chair of Department of History. My focus areas, major research areas, are critical heritage studies, public history, the production of history, production of heritage, but more specifically, production of heritage in post-apartheid South Africa, and production of histories, and politics of memory, politics of representation in public spaces all around South Africa. Those are my main focus areas. I would be very much willing to supervise topics related to my broad research areas and my focus areas. I would really encourage students to take up topics related to self-representations rather than group representations, or rather than nationalizations, which has been written so much about. I would encourage students to look at the emerging self-representations in the nucleus, especially micro-identities such as individuals, such as clans, and so on, and to look at the politics of the production of histories and heritage, and the politics of memory around those micro-identities. The Department of History has grown in the past few years. We are bigger and we have more research capacity, and we are exploring a wider range of topics in history, and I would really encourage students to consider working with us and taking up MA or doctoral studies with us.
Hello, I am Sibusisiwe Ngongo. I am a lecturer at the Department of History. I'm currently lecturing a first-year module on Africa in the World, Historical Perspectives. My research area is in gender and women's histories. and also in gender and Black consciousness politics in South Africa. I am currently researching the history of Black women in social research in South Africa from 1950 to 1990. And I am focusing on this because it is relevant to current experiences of Black women in university spaces, as I am, and so I really relate to that topic. And I think this is what the history department has become about at UNISA, researching socio-economic issues that are much more relevant to our experiences, particularly as young people living in South Africa. Therefore, we encourage that thinking outside of the box, that critical thinking, right, about our experiences and existence as young people in this country. So I encourage you to come and join the history department, as I think, you know, with recent additions of young, vibrant, diverse staff, you will find the environment quite stimulating, where we encourage you to debate, we encourage you to use modern methods of doing research. And I am, as always, available if your interest is in histories of gender and women in South Africa as well. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tembinkosi Sibusiso Khumalo. I am currently a lecturer at the History Department at UNISA, and I am Module Coordinator for HSY 1512. My main research areas include history of the struggle, history that involves anti-colonization, anti-dispossession, and anti-segregational history. So activities of Africans and how they dealt with those particular challenges are what we, or rather what I focus on particularly in my research. In terms of topics that I would be qualified and prefer to supervise, they would be around histories that are diverse, particularly along the struggle, but something different to just what we obviously know in our community as South Africans, something outside of what the ANC and the bigger bodies did, but what did our grandmothers in the townships do? How efficient were things like our struggle songs, and how did the entertainment industry, how did different types of institutions in our country fight against the difficult struggles that we faced as South Africans. So we're trying to look outside of the box, still talking about the same topics, or rather talking about the same thing of struggle, but rather how did the fray join and participate in the struggle. That's what I would love to supervise for an MA or a PhD candidate. The fields that I would encourage postgraduates to look into are histories that are being currently created by young and vibrant South Africans. Things like the Fees Must Fall movement, things like Afrikaans Must Fall, and other movements that young, vibrant students are bringing into the conversation. I think those are, conversations that really need to be looked at. The research potential of them can really start to discuss what we're going through as a society and where we're headed. It can really talk about the successes of the past and some of the failures that our stalwarts faced in creating the society that we find ourselves in today. And my suggestion for those who want to come and those who want to participate in our department is come through. We have a very vibrant and wide range of supervisors who can assist you in the different and diverse topics you want to cover. Myself personally, I would love to cover research that is around Fees Must Fall, research that is around modern struggles that young Black South Africans are facing right now, and what we are doing about that, how that is reflecting on society, and how that is reflecting on the past struggles, and how those stalwarts either failed or succeeded in creating a society the society that we live in today. So if these are things that interest you, if you want to come and join us, then I would suggest that you come, join the history department at UNISA, and we're waiting for you.
Hello, my name is Sipho Esihle Pindile Gumede, and I'm from the history department here at UNISA. Currently, our university is focusing on reclaiming Africa's intellectual futures, and as the history department, we support that mandate very well by looking at harnessing young African scholars and supporting them the best way possible. So what are my research interests? Currently, I'm focusing on articulating the struggle history within the 20th century, looking at gendered and also othered voices in the South African context. So if you're looking for your next home, a place where you can thrive as an African scholar and definitely find yourself as one of the leading thinkers, I would encourage you to come do your master's, come do your PhD here at the institution. I am too one of the students here, and I can tell you that there's a lot of support ready for you to experience. There's also a variety of scholars and thinkers and also academics in the department that are ready to support you, ready to assist you, and also listen to what you have to contribute and not undermining your voice and as well as your intellectual authority. So join us as we also aim to support you and harness your skills and development for your tomorrow.